Hello, hello, hello. This is Kay Patrice Williams. I am so excited to be here today. As you already see, my guest is Michael Silva. And I've invited him on today to give us some words and direction for Vacaville. And hold on, I'm going to bring Michael on. I can see he's in a waiting room. Hello, Michael.
Hello. Gotta have fun.
We have to have fun. There's no way to do it but to have fun. That's the only way we can do it.
I gotta say, your wedding room was on fire. It was amazing.
I thought I saw you dancing.
If that's what you want to call it.
Very good. Well, I tell you, I'm thrilled to have you on because you sit in such a unique position. You have this multi-lens of Vacaville. You are a professor. You're a professor of biotech?
Biotechnology and biological sciences.
Yeah. And biological sciences. Then you just won your seat 2 years ago as Vacaville Unified School District trustee. And then a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, you just won your seat for Vacaville City Council. And was it District 3?
District 3, yes.
District 3. So you have all of these diverse lenses surrounding Vacaville, surrounding I know you're not sitting yet on your city council seat. I think that's January. You moved
December 8th.
December 8th. Oh, in a few weeks.
Yeah.
In a few weeks. But still, to prepare.
I gotta get a suit.
You have to get a suit. You absolutely have to get a suit, for sure. And then I know you're a dad. I've seen your little ones. Actually, I haven't seen them recently, but over the years I've seen them. So you have like this really diverse lens. And so from your lens, I wanted you to talk a little bit about how you see Vacaville and how you see Vacaville changing, because I see you as part of the change. So I want to know what your vision is.
Great question. Thank you, Kay Patrice, for welcoming on, having me on this morning. Thank you, everyone who's tuning in and listening later on. I want to make one small correction. It wasn't myself that won. It was really we that won, really not just the team, but everybody that found different ways to support what was truly a grassroots campaign. And it was really something that just came together from this long effort of how do we unify our voices, which is very difficult. But how do we unify our voices and our efforts and our passions to be able to get representation to help set us up to succeed? My view of leadership is that when certain people are in positions of leadership, it's really that leader's responsibility to set those who they serve up to succeed. So the way I see things is that the more I set others up to succeed, not only does that one help my ability and my commitment to pay it forward to those who actually helped me out when very few actually believed in my abilities or who I was or what I could become and what I've yet to be able to achieve within my time on this earth. But it's collectively it's just really been again this effort to bring people together to make that change. As I mentioned to someone earlier that change always comes with challenges. A lot of people are kind of adverse to change, but I think that the more people that are included and have a voice in that saying, and those are kind of worked through and feedback is given, I think that in large, it just lets people more comfortable. People become more comfortable with that change and kind of know what's going on. So to kind of get to your question, my story really starts, actually the generation before me and those before me. There's a lot of stress that's going on right now. Vacaville went to districts. That's kind of, there's, a lot of things that are being said, but ultimately, we all are in this together. One of my slogans, because I believe that it's true, is that we are united to move forward. We have to be united to move forward. And part of that means that we, in our society, in our groups, we truly have to find ways to break down our silos and have a functional government that works with one another. So the title that you placed on here, the intersect between city and school, that is a key piece. Stronger schools mean a stronger city, and a stronger city should also help give back to make sure we have a stronger foundation for our education system. And what that means is, again, how do I set others up to succeed? To me, that future generation is really key. It's foundational to our democracy. And the more that we can find ways to educate and bring people along and unify our differences and be more empathetic, I think it's, I know that it's going to be very transformative, and it's been very transformative throughout my life. So I'm going to pause right there and let you regroup my scatterbrain.
Well, just so you know, a friend of both of ours, Sarah Palmasino, is she's here. She's clapping. She loved what you said. We have Lisa Clinton. She says she's calling you by your new title a few weeks in advance. I think officially you are council person elect.
Yeah, council member elect.
Council member elect. Yeah. Right. And Lisa also loved what you said about future generations is a key. I wanted to talk a little bit about you. You are a professor at Solano Community College, and I've known you over the years to talk about opportunities. When you're talking to young people, what are the opportunity? What was the opportunity conversation that you're having with them?
So a great question. There's one thing I want to, and it kind of ties into this topic that you mentioned that you're doing all these different things, and that's often something that I hear all along. And I need people to understand how and what actually led up to that. So I've worked different types of jobs, from landscaping with my father, to fast food, to retail, to healthcare for over 10 years, to research, to industrial biotechnology, and now in education. I've done random jobs along the way. Anytime I tried to move up, I was always met with feedback of what I didn't have. The focus was more on my deficiencies of what I didn't have that others had. And so over time, I just accepted that. I'm like, okay, I need to get better at this. I need to get better at that. I need to get better at that. But over time, it's just like, I have a master's degree. I was, all this congratulations. You're the first in your family to first generation, first to go to college, non-traditional student, started at 21, barely got out of high school, on and on, having family, at some point, I had $5 a week to feed my family. Here I am eating food out of a trash can at work, because I wanted to make sure that my family had food, and I was just hungry. I didn't even think twice about it. So just kind of going through all these ups and downs, doing what I had to do to get an education, to pay the bills, to make sure that I was working hard and having that hard work rewarded. There was always these, for whatever reason, there's these barriers. And that's really, I'm still, trying to process that. But when we talk about opportunities, I think part of it's having people that understand the struggles that people go through. And rather than looking at what someone doesn't have, look at what they have. Look at what they achieved. One of the things that this term that I first heard about working with the professor, Victor Rios, going to give him a shout out at UC Santa Barbara, was grit and resilience. And something that I actually, I'm going to shout out to my folks at UCLA Prep. They really helped transform my life. They talked about distance traveled, and it would be nice if we as a society at some point can get to the ability to look at the distance that one traveled and value the resilience that someone has, to value the grit that someone has, and value that to where they can transfer that towards being able to support innovation. So when we talk about creating opportunities, and when I talk to youth, depending on the age group and so on and so forth, it's not so much me creating an opportunity. It's really all of us coming together to identify what are our needs and how do we get there together. This society, this economy is truly interdependent. The more we sit here and go back and forth, within our own families, within our own neighborhoods, within our own cities, even with our own county and state, the more we have become our biggest barrier. It's not these other things. To me, we have so many creative minds, and and I see it anytime I do outreach with bringing all different ages, all different walks of life together. Every time somebody creates something new that I could not imagine, and to me, the intersect between city and school, kind of going back to that point and creating opportunities, is really finding ways to support that innovation. And through that creativity, through that problem solving, through that creative thinking that allows for innovation to happen, that's all truly dependent on the inclusivity of diversity that will lead to opportunities to become entrepreneurial. And the foundation of the United States is really based on entrepreneurialism. One of the gaps there, though, is how do we actually ensure with those successes, those ups and downs, how do we find ways to give back? So for me, the way to give back to our community. So I see things as if we've truly focused on innovation, entrepreneurship, and community, we actually formed this cycle to where we have a society that continuously gives back and provides opportunities for all to succeed without having to leave people behind.
Can you give us those 3 points again? Entrepreneurship,
innovation, entrepreneurship, and community.
I love it.
I'm gonna stamp that.
I love that. I'm going to make sure I put that in the chat. Innovation, entrepreneurship, community. I had to write down the word grit because you are the description of grit. Like when you tell your life story, I feel emotional. I feel that what I really like about you is it seems like you wear your emotions right here on your sleeve. Like you're so transparent. When I met you, I felt like I knew you because I felt like you always speak from your heart and from your soul.
You're gonna make me cry. Is that what this show's about?
No, I'm not an Oprah, but I will say you are everything that I knew you to be plus more. And now I know why I love empathetic leaders. I love leaders that's trying to be in your shoes so that they can narrow policy gaps. And so when I think about you being on that trustee board and now being on city council, you're the right person to be there. We need members of the community that have grit, that have gone through things, and that have pulled through. Because we need everybody to pull through.
Yeah. Don't forget where you came from.
Can't forget where you came from. April Chambers says yes, she works at a transitional home, so she understands exactly what it means to care about a community and give full out into a community. I have someone from my Empower Solano team that's repeating your innovation, entrepreneurship, community. Yeah, you're gonna have to use that. That needs to be a tagline. We need a T-shirt with that.
Yeah.
Oh, you have it?
No. It costs money. Still got that.
And you know what? The reason why actually did you have a T-shirt? Because I watched you at an endorsement meeting. I believe it was an endorsement meeting, and you started talking about something. You gave a tagline, and then all of a sudden you went and pulled it up out of a box.
That's better than my trunk.
I was like, where did he get the merch from? But you like rolled it right in. It was perfect. So anyway, I thought he was about to just pull out a box.
Missed that opportunity.
And also someone from my team says absolutely giving back is the thing. So give us, you know Vacaville. Give us 4 things. No, not even 4, 2 things that someone that is fired up. They're listening to you. They registered to vote. They voted. They voted for the 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And now they're like, what now? Like, does the excitement cease? What do I do now with all this energy that I have? That I want to work in the community.
Yeah. So, I mean, it really depends on where each individual's at. But I will say a lot of times, a lot of us, depending on, again, where we're at, you know, I was always one that was always talking, you know, this is how it is, this is how it is, this is how it is. And then some people would ask certain questions. So what are you going to do about it, Mike? Or the other one, like you talked about emotions on your sleeve. Mike, why are you so angry? I'm like, I'm not angry. I'm passionate. Like every time you say I'm angry, it makes me angry. You know, and with all due respect, you know, I know a lot of that's often a criticism for women. And, you know, as you were saying that, I really want to make sure that I thank the women in my life, because it wasn't for my mom, it wasn't for my godmother, but wasn't for my grandmother, who really strived to challenge access to good jobs, to what they call man jobs. There's no way that I would be where I'm at and who I am. And I'm very grateful and fortunate that I was raised by some tremendous women, and the memory of my father, who passed away when I was a little younger. So I want to make sure that you know, when I get that gratitude, that people really understand that it's not just me, and it's never done alone. I'm just truly just the vehicle at this point in time to pass along that effort and do what I can to move things forward, not just for myself, but all. And part of that, so I'll segue into this one. So part of that is really truly understanding the system. You know, the system that we've all inherited, for better and worse. You know, we all have been benefactors of that. And so the challenge is understanding the laws, understanding the policies, understanding why they are the way they are. So that way we can and understand how it got there. So a lot of people who don't like history understand that history that led into that, and why things were done the way they were or are. And then the question comes up, how can we truly improve that to where that system that's ideally, optimistically designed to help us, actually we can use that system to truly help us, right? So, you know, a lot of times, you know, throughout my life, and that's what kind of got me in policy, a lot of times it's like, you know what, Mike, you're right, I feel you, but you know what, you know, this piece of paper says this. And I'm like, well, who made that paper? Why can't they just change it? Like, I don't get it. Like, you know, so that's what kind of, just that, you know, that basic frustration, I try to turn that into something proactive. And what made me actually go to college is I just became tired of being someone around a bunch of people that just complained about stuff. And I didn't want to complain no more. I wanted to actually address it. And it took, you know, I had a lot of pain from different experiences throughout my life that, you know, put me in different directions. But, you know, and it took a while to learn how to forgive. So I learned that a whole act, but that wasn't overnight. Right. And so being able to understand these systems by attending town halls. So that's something I'm looking forward to putting forward once a month, attending council meetings, attending different talks, you know, and now with technology, you don't actually have to show up. You can tap into it when and how you can. The problem there is technology, but come on, be real. We all got phones. So, but I think that, you know, ultimately also just having those conversations, just, you know, reaching out and just having, you know, a 5-minute conversation about whatever's on your mind as those opportunities come up. You know, a lot of times a lot of times you'll hear a certain nugget, right? And that nugget is just something that maybe inspires you, or maybe makes you think in a totally different way, or be more empathetic and understand to look at things from a different perspective. And that's something that can truly be transformative. So, yeah. And that, so yeah, I'm sorry, did I answer your question?
You did, but I do have another question. I hope you have a few more minutes for us.
For you, anything.
Oh, awesome. I love it. So you have been on the Vacaville Unified School District Board for 2 years. That is a board that is meaningful. We care about, of course, our students, our parents, our teachers, especially under the lens of COVID-19. We just went back to the purple. And I know you're leaving that seat.
Yeah.
So I have two questions from that. One is, how is your seat filled now? Now that you're shifting to another seat, and then the second question, the part two, is what should we know about the school board and the decisions that are made? Like, what is, why you, because one thing to run for a seat is another to sit in it. Was there any eye-opening type of learning that you had sitting on that board?
Yeah, but I'm gonna respect like private type of conversations and whatnot. And I'll speak generally.
Please.
But
Yeah.
I think one thing that I mentioned, or I kind of want to follow up, it really requires working in teams, and that kind of actually translates. You're good on your questions. It actually translates this topic, serving on a board. It's not just you. No matter how many votes you got, doesn't matter how right you are. What it really matters is what it comes down to is how well do you connect, and how well is that board or that council or that Congress, how functional are they with one another? The reality is most people don't care about your personal drama. They don't care about what happened in the campaign season. They need help. Our families, many families right now, they need help. So what that comes down to is setting aside whatever our personal animosities are, put that aside and figure out how do we actually identify, which is being told. If you go door to door through the whole campaign season, people are telling you, hey, we need better park. I got nowhere to take my kid to play. Hey, I got to take off from work at 4:00 if I want my kid to play baseball, and I can't do that. Or, hey, no, I can't access those after school activities because I don't have the money. I don't have a way to get my kid there. Or, hey, I could barely pay rent. Or I get all these messages in Spanish like, hey, I lost my job. I don't have this. I got to help my kids on school online. What do I do? And this is stuff that like tears me apart. And it's frustrating because I know there's people in positions that know this. And, how much does it really take? The outreach that I do, man, that 1 hour a week, 6 days, for 6 weeks, I put out, if there's funding, I'll take it. As far as like for supplies, I've never got paid for any of that. Never got paid. I don't want to get paid. That's not what it's about for me. And I want to make sure that that's the way it stays. But when we have outreach and I can't get $500, $400 to buy supplies, boom, here goes my lunch money, right? So and it's amazing because those 6 weeks, there's still kids from 5 years ago. Hey, Mr. Silva, how you doing? We'll be doing biotech again. I'm like, man, join my college class. Okay. And then anyway, so but the point is that those needs are there, and that's why it's important that people team up. And sometimes it just takes one person to put out there, because I guarantee you there's other people that feel the same way. What I encourage everybody to do is just to make sure that you focus on the issues. Once we start, every time, so we talk about things that I learned, and this is being on the outside and inside. Once people start making it personal or make a personal attack, then things just derail, and then nothing gets done. And I think it's really important for each of us as leaders to recognize that. And if we start taking something personal, then we put that self in check. If you got to address it, but we got to move on. For me, sleep on it. Next day is a new day, ready to go. Let's keep moving forward. Forgive, maybe not forget, but we got to move forward. So, so going back to, if you want to jump in any questions about that, I'm happy to answer. But the one thing I want to add is one thing that I noticed, and I mentioned this in open comments a couple of times, is that it was very apparent to me when we're talking about how we respond to this pandemic, that particularly targets essential workers that tend to be more of Black and brown backgrounds, that the conversations that I'm having about that, conversation I'm having about equity, about racial justice, about systemic racism are completely different than what other members are having. And that told me how important it is to have representation in those elected positions. And also that those elected officials are willing to open their mind and listen towards other things and consider that into their decision-making processes, not just to represent them, but to also connect the policy to the people. And by doing that, I think that's where we have a responsibility as leaders, as elected public servants, to truly serve the public, to unify us, rather than kind of keep feeding and perpetuating this division that's not healthy for anybody. Again, that leads to us being our own biggest barrier towards innovation, entrepreneurship, and our ability to give back in our community. So when you talked about what's the plan, actually on the agenda, this the school board will decide this. It's on the agenda for the school board to decide this Thursday, live. And
Okay.
so I don't know, and I don't know because traditionally, so this is a good topic for because a lot of cities throughout Solano County, throughout California, transition from at large to districts, and what that did is people like me, and I wouldn't have done this if it wasn't for the support of the community. I didn't, it was really personally, I felt that the additional needs to help support our education system can be addressed through city. Other issues that lead towards poverty and being able to break that cycle of poverty. So that was truly like the inspiration for me to make this transition. But when you have somebody who vacates a seat for whatever reason, based on, truly based on public support, otherwise they wouldn't have got elected, traditionally, sorry, I'm jumping around here. Traditionally, what happens, you got me on a roll now. Traditionally, what happens is, do you want to do an at-large special election for essentially a year-and-a-half service for around $500,000 to $800,000, depending on the area and whatnot? That's the price tag. It's $580,000, I've heard, up to $800,000, depending on school or city and whatnot. Or do you want to do an appointment? So traditionally, it was for cost effectiveness, it just made more sense to do appointment, right? If you look at it from a business financial responsibility mindset. So that's one thing that we all as a public have to consider. But now that we've transitioned to districts, the questions have come up about how do we make that transition? And right now, where a lot of a couple of seats are kind of where there's a lot of confusion is can you do special elections for that? How much does that cost? Which I hear is around maybe under 100 under 100. So the question is, how do we as a public want that? What's realistic? And I'm gonna kind of reserve my comments for that, just as far as where I stand and all that. But that's really things that are being discussed and have to be under consideration from those who actually will decide the policy to move forward. So
if
right now, to answer your original question, sorry, yeah. Is that I don't know. I don't know how Vacaville School Board is going to fill that seat.
Right, but the decision will be made this Thursday.
It's on the agenda. Yep.
It's on the agenda. So if any Vacaville community members want to weigh in, would they come to the virtual meeting and then make a comment during public comments, weighing one way or another?
Yeah, so that's an interesting one too. I know every certain cities only allow, or school boards may allow this and that. So for instance, for Vacaville School Board, and I haven't seen a correspondence otherwise, so I apologize if this is incorrect information, but as we moved into the purple tier, I believe there still be limited access with social distancing, with masks, to the school board chambers. That said, on the agenda, there will be a Zoom link to where you can log in to the school board meeting and say it during open comment. The other way to express your feelings is to also just you can go to Vacaville Unified School District, vacavilleusd.org, go to the board members' emails, and you can shoot an email out to the superintendent, the board members. You don't need to hit up the superintendent, but you can send it to the board members if you wish, and express to them, what you would like to voice. And but try to do that try to do that today. Because honestly, even I'm just saying, like, sometimes if it's like a 30 minutes before the meeting, no, I'm sorry, I didn't get your email yet. I got it after, but just kind of try to be mindful and an understanding, and put that in perspective.
No, thank you. You just really laid out how we would get involved with anything that's on our minds, and that's on the agenda. So right now, this is the call to action. If you have a thought surrounding, that decision, special election or appointment, but this is really the call to action. This is another way to get involved.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Well, this has been a lot of fun. I feel like I could talk to you forever.
one more thing, something that I'm going to be rolling out for District 3. And it's
Yeah.
not because I don't care about everybody else. This 707 is my home, right? I used to wear 707 shirts, if y'all remember back in the 90s. Gang Tired. Although I didn't think it was. But anyways, community organizers. Something that I'm looking for maybe one or two quote unquote interns. I there's not a huge stipend that comes with serving on public. It's not like we're congressmen that get like a full staff or anything. But I think it's I'm happy to bring people along and kind of learn, allow basically work together, help develop different skills, whatever it is, get more insight, into this process. So that's one way you can do it. Just reach out to your locally elected officials. I'm looking for, a couple people to help out. And outside of that, what I'm really looking forward to is looking for community organizers throughout that district. And so those community organizers essentially would serve as the point of contact for your neighborhood, for your street, for your neighborhood, and help disseminate information back and forth just to kind of make it more efficient. And that's another way to make sure that we have representation. Doesn't mean that people are going to get their way and this and that. It just helps for me personally that truly wants to do well and truly wants to serve the public. It helps me get basically it helps me get the information. So it's all swimming around in here. And as those discussions come up, I can best advocate for the people that elected and trusted to serve me. Even if they didn't vote, it's okay. I still love you. Right? We truly are. We got to be in this together, and we got to keep it together. So
I love it. I love it. Okay, this has been amazing, and and to me that was the perfect close. You told us exactly what
we had a president that was a community organizer.
Huh?
We had a president that was a community organizer.
We did. So it sounds like are you excited about the President-elect Biden?
Yeah. No, I think man, why you put me on this one? So no, I think it's really important for any leader. I deal with whatever comes to me. I deal with. So here's something that's important. A lot of people want, they do the endorsements and this and that. But as a teacher, I don't pick my students. They come who and how they are, and wherever they're at, I meet them where they are. And I take that same approach as in my leadership roles, and I expect that of all leaders to meet people where they're at, and how do we find ways to merge together. So whoever the nation gave to us, which was Biden, it appears, I believe that. So I'm looking forward to seeing the cabinet that he puts together, because again, it's not one person. It will never be just one person. It's really that support network around the individual. And I truly do feel, as much as we focus on the national politics, we truly got to focus on ways to look at how locally we can control and how we react to whatever's going on. We have a lot more power, a lot more control what goes on locally than we do on the other side of this nation. So thank you.
No, thank you for closing us that way. I tell people that all the time. Sarah is live, and Sarah's my voter registration shero. And when I'm out in the community doing voter registration, I talk to people all the time that says they don't understand the connection between local politics and their lives. And so I'm like, oh, okay, well, do you have a child? Do you have a child that's in school? Yes, I do. Okay, well, that's the school board. Okay, do you care about priorities surrounding policing, roads, do you infrastructure? Okay, that's city council. Do you have, with healthcare? Okay, that's the county. So it's we've got to see ourselves in local politics, and that's why I'm grateful for you as well, because I see myself in you, and I know in you we have a fighter. In you we have that truth talker, where you can say, this is the policy that's up before me, but let me give you this lens, this community lens. Let me bring the community into this room and throw and layer that onto a policy. It's powerful. It's powerful. Okay, one more question if you have time. If someone,
for you, anything I told you already.
So we have people, they are watching and they are fired up. They want to run for office too. What would you tell them to do?
Learn the policies, listen on to those meetings. You don't have to go to every one. But those hot topics, those are the ones that come up. Most of the time, there's a lot of quote unquote boring stuff. My wife listened into one. She's like, "How do you do this?" And I'm like, well, to me, it's just interesting because those are precious taxpayer dollars people work for, contribute in different ways, and those are supposed to go back to be reinvested into the community. So you want to make sure that that we truly honor every single dollar and the efforts that went into that whole process. So number one is, just kind of getting a vibe and feel and kind of understand what you're getting into. Don't be unidirectional. If all you have is one issue, that's not going to truly resonate with everybody. The things that are in my particular neighborhood, Markham, are going to be different than the other areas of my district that I'll be serving, or that's all within my district. The way I see it is I'm truly serving all of Vacaville, but being a voice for those within my district. So I think that's key. Talking to officials, again, communicate. That's what we do. Yeah, you gotta talk. I would also find ways, again, to get active. Just follow your passion. I did not see myself in this position whatsoever. People like, Mike, ain't nobody gonna elect Mike Silva in Vacaville. Even though I was running for school board, there's no way. I don't know if y'all saw one of my signs. The last one I put out, the first one was pretty diverse, but people were like, "Oh, I'm like, oh."
I love that first one. That first one was fire.
And then thank you, Aaron Salona. He designed it. Shout out to him. Then I did this, typical. So I was like, "Oh man, I gotta tame it down." So then I was like, "Okay, I'll do this apple and pencil." And so but it was like a nice design. I was like, "Man, it was a cool design," but I was like, "This is boring." So I want to represent diversity. I want to represent inclusion. I want to make sure people know that I'm different. So and just get something symbolic. So I came up with the calavera. Or Aaron drew it up, but they're like, "Mike, you're gonna put a Day of the Dead skull on a school board logo or on your school board campaign signs?" I'm like, "Yeah," and that thing was a hit. And I was like nervous. I'm like, "Oh man, what are people going to say? How they're going to come at me and this and that." But I think, again, as long as it's respectful, and that meant different things to some people, different folks. And that's okay. Because what it did is it brought people together, and that's okay. And so those who are interested in running, again, you want to follow your passion, find different projects, and don't do it to run for office. Don't do it for a checkbox. That's one of my pet peeves. I see that all the time. Don't do things to check a box. Do it because you truly believe in it. And if those opportunities open up, pursue them. You got to pursue them. So have those conversations with elected folks. You get involved in a certain project. You don't got to do 5 different things. Just one. Just focus on one thing. Do it well. Otherwise, you stretch yourself thin. You get burnt out. And that happens all the time. That's happened for generations. People tell me all the time, and I say I don't get burnt out until I do. So yeah. Right. But yeah, anybody want to know? Reach out. I'm happy to have that discussion.
Okay, awesome. So in the chat box, I have put in your contact information, and what I'll do is I'll do it again, a shorter version, because it kind of.
So that's a contact list. That Google Docs, a contact list. If you want to be, just stay up to date, see what's going on, tap in, sign up for that on that Google spreadsheet, and then that right there is my email, silvavvd3@gmail.com. You can shoot me an email that way and go that route. I'm in the process of figuring out a new website or revising the website that I have. So that's what I can help with.
Your website was everything too.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I have tied you up for long enough. I just want to get all of my questions out, and we had a very engaging chat. You definitely have some Vacaville love, and we get a lot of views after the fact too. So thank you for being here with me today, for being with all of us, and congratulations on your win.
Thank you. Our win. I know it's tough out there. Yeah, I know it's tough out there in a lot of families because things are shut down, businesses. But just please be patient with each other. Please be respectful to one another. Please, follow those safety guidelines as best you can. I know there's a lot of things going on with that, but for me, my biggest fear is being able to unintentionally hurting other folks. And I want our businesses up. I want our schools up. I want people to be interacting. And, if one thing this has showed and made me appreciate more is each other. So please continue to be kind to one another and love one another. So thank you. Thank you, Kay Patrice. Thank you, everyone, for joining in.
Thank you, everyone.